I second.
One other issue that I'd like to bring up, it came to my attention about a month ago that the lease for the Semmes Library, there was an issue among at least one of the other commissioners about the lease agreement. The lease is a 10-year lease with one 10-year extension. And, of course, this lease was entered into prior to my being on the commission. It was when Commissioner Nodine had this office. But the citizens in the Semmes community are very invested in the Semmes Library. They have raised about $380,000 for renovations and to provide resources in the library. It's a wonderful facility. It serves people not only in the Semmes community but all around the community through Wilmer and Tanner Williams and that whole region of West Mobile. And what I understood was that there was concerns about that lease agreement, and that because we have to give notice 6 months prior to the termination of the agreement, there would need that the other commissioners were supporting a resolution that would basically give notice of the termination of that lease. Well, the Semmes community has gotten word of this, and of course, as you can imagine, they're in a frenzy. They had no idea that this was a 10-year lease. Nobody ever explained that, and of course, I had no idea that there was any issue with continuing that lease until a few weeks ago. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are. We can. I would like to be able to help this community. I don't want to see those doors shut, and I think it would be a terrible, terrible disgrace for that to happen. And we can't just pull the rug out from under these people. We've got to be able to help them at least transition somehow into being able to keep this library open. The city is brand new. It's they don't have. They have less than about a $5 million annual budget. They're struggling to meet their obligations. I've met with the mayor and the president of the council. I've asked for their help and support, but this is going to take some time to work this out. So in the meantime, I need to know from the two of you what your expectations are. What your thoughts are about, and would you consider either continuing that lease under some circumstances, or maybe looking forward to other options about that building?
When this was being negotiated, basically CVS, the owner of the building, they got everything. We paid their taxes, we paid everything. The lease is actually outrageous, and the commission that was sitting in place did it then because basically that's what Commissioner Nodine wanted, and he got support to do it. It's really unfair. All the other libraries in the county are funded on a per capita basis, which is what the statute requires, and yet we have this library sits inside the city now.
No, it's out. It's not in the city.
It's not inside the city of Semmes. Well, I'm not willing to go into another long-term lease where basically we are being taken to the cleaners. I understand that it's a good library, they need the library, but funding's got to come from somewhere else. It's just fundamentally unfair. And I've had it raised by at least two other jurisdictions asking me how they get the kind of deal, and they think it's in the city of Semmes because I thought it was too.
Well, I was told it was, and I'll recheck that.
How they get that kind of deal for their libraries, and of course that's just not available. So if CVS does, if the property owner does what they do before, they're going to come back and they're going to say we're only going to do another 10-year lease, and you either do it on these terms or walk away. And I don't know whether there's a possibility for a short-term lease or not.
We are investigating that. I've asked our attorney to contact the CVS representatives. He's been in communication. I'm looking at trying to renegotiate a much better lease. And if we can do that, if we can enter into that lease for a short period of time until we can figure out what to do to take care of this problem, because this is, to drop this in everybody's lap like this is, it's going to take 6 months to probably figure out exactly what to do about it.
But in order to protect our right to get out of that lease, we have got to give them. We've got to give them that notice within that 6 month period, and if during that 6 months we can work something out, then I would certainly be open to that. But it's got to be fair, and now if it's not inside the city of Semmes, I guess the city of Semmes feels like it has no obligation to.
Right. Well, the mayor told me that, so I assume it's correct.
Got to be inside the city.
No obligation to fund it, but I guess I was reading an article in the Call News where at one of their State of the City, there was an announcement that they had a $6 million surplus. I'm like, we're paying through the nose for this, and I guess they were bringing in money hand over fist. So I just assumed, I said, well, if they have that kind of money in surplus to add the library, which I thought was inside the city, to their list of obligations, wouldn't have been that onerous. But I just think that the county has got to get out of that 10-year lease under the terms that we are currently in there. I just can't do it.
Well, we are working toward trying to do that, but I just want to ask you to please be open-minded. If we could work out an agreement with the city of Semmes for some step-down assistance to give them time to be able to absorb some of this in their budget, if they're willing to do that. There's got to be a willingness on behalf of the mayor and the city council to be able to partner in this endeavor. It cannot, I understand what you're saying, that there's no support on this commission for us to continue at the same level and to pay for everything. I hear what you're saying, but, that's what we're working towards, but, it's just the time crunch, and I need to be able to tell them what your thoughts are and what might be doable and agreeable to this commission. Well,
I'm open. We can find something better than what we have now. But if all we can get out of CVS is this or nothing, then I'm in the nothing category. But if they're willing to work with us, then I'm happy to do that, because I understand that they didn't anticipate this. So I'm happy to work with them, but I still think we've got to give our lessor the notice to protect them.
Y'all let me talk now?
Your turn.
Well, we haven't talked about this, have we?
Well, no, because we can't unless we're in a public meeting.
And according to Facebook, I'm the reason that they're going to close the library. So let me express my thoughts here. We need to help if we can. But to take $50,000 out of my projected budget, we'll just treat it as my budget, $50,000 out of each year to fund this is really asking a lot. I have 2 libraries in my district that are trying to raise money. One is just got stud walls with no books or anything. And for me to face them and say, I'm going to give $50,000 to Semmes, it would be hard. I doubt they would let me drive back through Grand Bay. But in Semmes, the projects we're doing on the senior center, and now this and that, and things keep adding up. I mean, at some point, we as commissioners for our district have to say, time out. This just will not work. I discovered this lease when I first got elected in 2012, and I put it in my phone to remind me in 2016 to bring it up. So I'm glad we're doing that. How you're going to pay for this, you're not going to get the support from the commission to do what you've got here. I mean, this is, Steve Nodown ought to be run for president, to get these deals put together. This is incredible. I wish I could get one of these. But what you can do is we have paid for that building. The county commission has paid over the last 10 years close to $1.7 million. So the building has been paid for. CVS is located across the street, I understand. Is that correct?
Well, now it's a $145,000 a year lease. There's some
I've done the math.
funds.
It's $1.5 million over a 10-year period. That's $150,000 per year. That's $50,000 per district is basically what we've chipped in for that. What I would suggest you do is look at your educational funds and your district funds and maybe pay it out of that. That will be your funds, it's your library, it's in your district. That way you can actually take credit for helping them. But it's not going to work under this plan. And we can call CVS. I don't mind calling them. I own a pharmacy. I know how they talk, and it'll take you weeks to get to who you need to talk to. Ask them to donate the building. They own 7,000 properties. To donate one and get a full write-off of a building that's already been paid for, I think they might be open-minded. But they're not going to listen to us until they receive a letter that says that we're no longer going to pay the rent on it. Then they will start listening to us.
I think they're open right now. There's an open line of communication right now. I don't know what they might be willing to do. They want us to make an offer, so to speak, of what we are requesting, and we'll do that. I mean, we'll throw something out there just to see what they're willing to do. But I'm willing to help in any way I can that's reasonable to keep this library open. But I'm asking just your support for if we can work something out. I know we have to give notice, but in the short term, in the next 6 months, to keep an open mind for ideas that come back, if it's a short-term lease, for instance, if we can work an issue out that would be short-term with a step down, something like that. Because money is committed. I hear what you're saying, but we all commit money to education. I mean, you can't take every penny you've got that's already committed and move it somewhere else. That's not doable. But you can do some of it, but you can't do all of it. And so
I'll keep an open mind.
Okay.
Of course we're going to keep an open mind. There's nothing against Semmes. I mean, I wish we could do this for every community.
And another thing, we have to give notice by the end of March. And we have 2 meetings in March. One is the 13th and one is the 27th. And I would request that we put this on if as opposed to the 13th, put it on the 27th agenda, just to give a little more time for that community to absorb what's happening.
Well, what difference will that make?
Well, that's my point. What difference does it make? As long as it happens before the end of the month. I mean, it's effective April 1st. The notice goes into effect.
I think the earlier you give the notice, the more likely we're going to get, the sooner we get their attention.
Yeah, we need CVS's attention. I mean, I've got all the folks in Semmes calling me. It started this morning about 6:15, so, which I don't mind. I mean, that's part of the county, and I am a county commissioner, but I represent District 3. So I'll work with you any way I can, but this particular deal, I mean, there's just no way. Short-term lease, I don't know if that's an answer. We've got to get CVS's attention. I mean, they're a good corporation. That if we can make our case that it'll tie them into the to the citizens there in Semmes, it'd be foolish not to do it.
Okay.
We tried to buy the building when we did all of this, and they wouldn't sell it to us.
So the commission tried to buy the building at the time?
Mm-hmm. And they refused to sell it.
I would too if I could get you to pay for it over 10 years.
Yeah.
I still got the building, and I got $1.5 million in my
Well, let me say, I would never have entered into any agreement that for 10 years, it would have had to have been at least 99 years, because you don't put that kind of capital money into a facility for a 10-year lease. So I don't disagree at all with that.
And I understand the city of Semmes. I understand they're between a rock and a hard place. But, I mean, it's been 10 years to be getting prepared to kind of take it over. I mean, they're a city now, and new mayor, bless his heart, gets this dumped on him. It makes everybody look bad. So, if we can just communicate.
Well, I'm trying my best to communicate.
Yeah, but, by law, we can communicate. Mm-hmm. We can talk.
No, we cannot talk outside of a public meeting on any issue that may
was
come up for a
changed 2
vote.
years ago, and I bet you the newspapers will tell you that too, and that's who we're most fearful of here. Or the media, I should say, not just the newspapers. But that was changed 2 years ago through the state.
That we can talk about something that we're going to vote on?
We can, but we can't come to a conclusion. I can come to you and say, this is my thoughts on this project. You don't tell me how you're going to vote one way or the other, and we walk away.
That's a real gray area, and I'm sure that people
Well-
would be suspect that there wasn't some conclusion that came out of a conversation like that. So I would prefer to err on the side of caution, and if I'm going to discuss something, it's going to be in a public meeting.
Well, I'm enough of a salesman, I'd be the one to be worried about, not y'all. Y'all walk a very straight line.